It's hard to believe that design mistakes can lead to some of the best-looking cars out there today. But they did. From poor sales numbers to incorrect target markets, here are 10 design mistakes that gave us the most loved cars. Number 10. The Kia Stinger. Kia is known for producing well-designed cars with quirky names, but none more interesting than the Kia Stinger, named after the arrow used by the Greek god of love. This fastback sedan was never going to be a great seller. Kia knew it would only sell in small numbers, but what they didn't expect was how well it would be received by car enthusiasts. Despite not being very practical, slow sales were expected, but the positive feedback forced Kia's hand and kept it in production longer than anticipated. The fact that it had no direct competitor also helped. There were no other automakers offering a stylish rear-wheel drive sedan with this much power at a reasonable price. Number 9. Toyota Mr. 2. One of the biggest risks when designing a new car is coming up with an original concept. Sometimes automakers take too much risk. Like with the Toyota MR2, Toyota initially wanted to create a cheaper version of the MR2, which was already a mid-engine sports car. But during development, the budget was increased to levels near the original MR2. Eventually, the team realized they had created another MR2 and canceled the project. But before that, they built 3 prototypes, and one of them eventually went into production as the first-generation MR2. It looks identical to the third prototype, which was called the SW20. No, 8. The Alfa Romeo Montreal. Before the Montreal was unveiled at the 1970 Montreal Auto Show, Alfa Romeo thought they had hit the jackpot. This front-tension rear-wheel drive Grand Tourer looked stunning and had a 3.0-liter V8 engine. All they had to do was slap a few badges on it and add some trim. They planned to sell 40,000 units annually and priced it at just over $9,000 in today's money. But they forgot one crucial thing: customers couldn't buy it. At the time, Alfa Romeo had a reputation for producing race-ready cars, not comfortable touring models. Not only that, but the pricing put it right in the crosshairs of the upcoming oil crisis. Only 394 were produced in its 2 years of production, but those who bought one got a true gem. Today they're highly sought after and fetch high prices at auctions. Number 7. Ferrari F40. For decades, Ferrari made elegant GT road cars with beautiful Pininfarina coachwork. In 1987, they decided to build something different, a raw, track-focused hypercar. Designed by the legendary Leonardo Fioravanti, the F40 was named to celebrate Ferrari's 40th anniversary. This made it all the more surprising when the very first prototype looked nothing like the production version. What we see here is the second pre-production example. Only 5 were made to test various components. But Ferrari's executives weren't convinced. They thought the F40 looked ugly and ordered Fioravanti to make it more elegant. This led to the creation of the third prototype, which looked closer to a production car. Although the F40 might look understated now, remember that it was built in the late 80s. At the time, it was a bona fide supercar. It was built entirely from composite materials and featured a twin turbocharged V8 engine. All of these upgrades reduced weight while increasing performance. So despite the executives' complaints, they approved the start of production. Number 6. Plymouth Superbird. The 1968 NASCAR season was heating up, and so was the rivalry between Plymouth and Dodge. Both companies were battling for the championship title, and each wanted bragging rights for building the best stock car. Dodge had already unveiled their new Charger, but Plymouth needed something special to compete. Entered the Plymouth Superbird, or as it was later called, the Roadrunner. Roger Penske and his team had just 2 months to design a car that would help their drivers win races. They focused primarily on aerodynamics, creating one of the most aerodynamically sound cars of its day. They didn't care about looks, and this is evident when you see the wedge shape from the side. To reduce weight, they removed the B-pillar and welded the windows in place. This meant that occupants had to practically climb over each other to get out. Safety standards didn't apply back then, but that wouldn't stop modern regulations from applying today. These days, you wouldn't be able to remove the B-pillar without meeting several requirements. Also, welding the windows in place would result in an automatic fail. Luckily, Dan Gurney came in clutch and offered to use his Team S molds to produce a fiberglass version of the Roadrunner. This saved Plymouth from having to build a steel roof. As we know, the Roadrunner became an instant hit. People loved its cartoon bird decals and scooped tail. They sold 1,700 examples in just 6 months. No. 5. Lamborghini Diablo. When the Lamborghini Countach was unveiled in 1971, people thought it would be a one-off concept, but it wasn't. It went into production and stayed there for 15 years. By the end of the 1980s, Lamborghini wanted to replace the aging Countach with a new supercar. They turned to Chrysler designer Tom Jarda and asked him to design something new. His answer was the outrageous-looking Lamborghini Diablo. With scissor doors, sharp angles, and massive air intakes, the Diablo looked straight out of a sci-fi movie. It was originally powered by a 5.0-liter V12 engine, but this would increase to 5.7 liters by 1990. This update also included a new chassis and suspension. Despite its looks, the Diablo was actually a very balanced car. Its weight distribution was almost perfectly 50/50ths, making it easy to control. While the Diablo might not be the fastest or most powerful Lamborghini ever made, it will always hold a special place in automotive history. The last Lamborghini to feature a naturally aspirated engine, as well as the last Lamborghini to feature a manual gearbox. Number 4. The De Tomaso Pantera. The Ford Mustang was causing quite a stir when it debuted in 1964. Europeans got wind of this American pony car and demanded something similar from their own automakers. This gave birth to the De Tomaso Pantera. It was designed by the famous Italian coach builder, Ghia, and built on a Ford chassis. But they opted for a more elegant approach instead of mimicking the Mustang's long hood and short deck design. They went with a sleek fastback design with sharp angles and long overhangs. All of this was held up by massive 16-inch Campagnolo wheels. Initially, the Pantera had a Ford 302 Windsor V8 engine, but this would later be replaced by a Cosworth V8. Even with the V8 engine, the Pantera wasn't a muscle car. It weighed about the same as a contemporary 911, which begs the question, why not just buy a 911? Number 3. Lotus Elise. The Lotus Elise was intended to be a spiritual successor to the iconic Lotus 7. That meant it had to be lightweight and nimble. Lotus had an abundance of knowledge when it came to building lightweight sports cars. But they made one fatal error, using the wrong type of aluminum. Their engineers used an aluminum honeycomb core sandwich panel. While incredibly strong, it added unnecessary weight. This made the Elise heavier than its predecessor. It did, however, hit the mark in terms of performance. The first model featured a Toyota-sourced 1.8-liter inline-4 engine, which was later updated to a 2.0-liter. Despite weighing around 700 kilograms, the Elise could hit 60 miles per hour in under 6 seconds. Just like the Caterham 7, the Elise has no airbags, ABS, or even a sound deadening system. Instead, it comes with a removable hardtop, making it the perfect weekend toy. No. 2. Aston Martin Vantage. When Aston Martin released the DB7 in 1993, it was criticized for looking too much like a BMW. The DB7 was supposed to be a grand tourer, but buyers wanted something sportier. Aston Martin took this feedback and created the Vantage in 1999. It featured a shorter, wider body and more aggressive bumpers. However, they stuck with the same engine as the DB7, which was an inline-6 sourced from the Jags XJR. This meant that the Vantage was still a grand tourer, not a true sports car. But people liked it regardless. Buyers kept asking for more power, which resulted in the 2005 Vantage. It used a 4.3-liter version of the inline-6. But this still wasn't enough. The 2008 Vantage came with a 4.7-liter engine. And if that wasn't enough, the 2011 Vantage was upgraded to a 4.7-liter. With a manual gearbox or a 6-speed automatic, the Vantage may have been slow out of the gate, but it quickly evolved into one of the most popular Astons of recent times. No. 1. Volkswagen Golf GTI. The Volkswagen Golf is one of the best-selling hatchbacks of all time. When it first launched in 1974, it was designed primarily with families in mind. But Volkswagen's engineers saw an opportunity to inject some fun into this mundane car. They took the base model and turned it into what we know today as the GTI, with flared wheel arches. A front spoiler and lowered suspension, the GTI looked sportier than any other Golf, but its looks were only matched by its driving experience. No one expected a basic hatchback to handle this well. The first GTI came with a 1.6-liter engine, which produced just over 100 horsepower. But the Golf GTI was never about outright speed. It was about the connection between driver and machine. It took Volkswagen a decade to introduce an automatic transmission option. And that's because they wanted everyone to enjoy driving the car. Nowadays, the GTI continues to get faster and more powerful, but its handling characteristics remain the same.